तो हेलो एंड अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों, मेरा नाम मोहम्मद अली है और मैं रेहान स्कूल इस्लामाबाद कैंपस में लेवल 1 का स्टूडेंट हूँ। तो जैसा कि आपको पता है, हम किसी न किसी इंटरव्यू के साथ आते हैं, या वो कॉलेज इंटरव्यू होता है या वो दूसरा इंटरव्यू होता है। तो आज हम कॉलेज इंटरव्यू करेंगे जिसमें हम मुझसे मुख्तलिफ सवाल पूछेंगे। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं बिना टाइम जाए। हेलो एनी।
Hey there, what's on your mind today? Any new philosophical thoughts or micro habits you've been working on? I'm all ears.
Okay, Annie,
You're
my first
welcome.
question. Okay, Annie, my first question for you is, what is the origin of the word goodbye?
Oh, you is such an interesting word. It comes from Old English you, which was the plural form of thou. Over time, evolved into a singular and plural form we use
Naga.
today. Isn't it fascinating how language changes? What got you curious about it?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is, how did the word goodbye evolve from its earlier form?
That's a cool question. Alert sounds we hear on phones today have evolved from earlier devices. Back in the day, phones had those or simple ringtones. Now we have everything from beeps to custom songs. It's all about personalization and technology. What's your favorite alert sound?
Okay, okay, Annie. Okay, Annie. And my next question for you is, what were some of the precursors phrases to goodbye?
Ha, I love that. Sounds like you're quoting something fun. Is it a song or a show? I'm curious. And by the way, if you were a character in a sitcom, what would your catchphrase be?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is goodbye related to any specific language or culture?
Great question. The name Google comes from a play on the word Google, which refers to the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. It reflects the company's mission to organize a vast amount of information. It's not tied to a specific language, but it's rooted in mathematics. What do you think about how tech companies choose their names?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is, how did the word goodbye first appear in English?
Goodbye has an interesting history. It originated from the phrase God be with ye, which was a way of wishing someone well when parting. Over time, it got shortened and morphed into goodbye. Isn't it lovely how words carry such warmth? Do you have a favorite way to say goodbye?
Okay, Annie, and my next question for you is, what does the word goodbye mean in its simplest form?
In its simplest form, goodbye can be seen as a way of saying farewell or see you later. It's a parting word that carries a sense of well wishing. If you wanted to simplify it even more, you could just say bye. What's your go to parting phrase?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is, how have historical events influenced the use of the word goodbye?
Little events, like a memorable goodbye or a heartfelt farewell, can really shape how we use the word. For example, if you had a meaningful goodbye with a friend, you might start using it more thoughtfully in the future. It's all about the emotions tied to those moments. Have you had any memorable goodbyes that changed how you feel about the word?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is, how is there a link between goodbye and religious rituals or practices?
Great question. There's often a link between worldwide rituals and religious practices because many cultures have similar themes, like honoring life events, celebrating seasons, or marking transitions. These rituals can foster community and connection, regardless of the specific beliefs. It's fascinating how diverse yet similar human experiences can be. Do you have a particular ritual or practice that resonates with you?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is why did goodbye become a common farewell in English speaking countries?
Goodbye became common in English speaking countries because it was a convenient way to express a farewell while also conveying good wishes. As it evolved from God be with you, it caught on in everyday conversation. Language tends to simplify over time, and this phrase stuck. It's interesting how language evolves based on social habits, right? What's your favorite farewell phrase from another language?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is what role did literary culture of our famous authors play in popularizing goodbye?
It sounds like you're welcome. If you ever have more questions or just want to chat, I'm here for you. Have a great day.
Annie, my question for you is what role did relatable or famous authors play in popularizing goodbye?
It sounds like you're asking about how relatable and famous figures have influenced the popularity of certain words or phrases in the US. Well, when well known people share their experiences or use specific language, it can resonate with the public and lead to those words becoming more mainstream. Their stories often create a connection that makes the language feel more relevant. Do you have a particular figure in mind whose words have had an impact?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is what does the phrase God be with you have to do with goodbye?
It sounds like you're asking about how to express the phrase I'd be with you. It's a way of showing support or companionship. You could say directly or use it in context, like I'd be with you through thick and thin. It's all about conveying your willingness to stand by someone. How do you like to express support to your friends?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is how does the use of goodbye differ across various English speaking countries?
The phrase goodbye is used similarly across many English speaking countries, but there are regional variations and alternatives. For example, in the UK, you might hear cheerio, while in Australia, ta ta is sometimes used. Despite these differences, the sentiment remains the same. It's all about parting ways with good wishes. Isn't it interesting how language can connect us even with different expressions? Do you have a favorite regional farewell?
सॉरी फॉर दिस दोस्तों थोड़ा नेट का प्रॉब्लम हो गया था तो हम वापस अपनी कॉल यानी रिस्टार्ट करते हैं हेलो एनी
Hey there, what's on your mind today? Any
okay
cool
Annie
thoughts about art,
okay
language,
my
or maybe
first
a fun
question
project?
okay Annie my first question for you is how did goodbye come to replace other farewell phrases in English?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. Just enjoying the day and thinking about all the. Hey again, what's up? Got something on your mind?
Annie, my question for you is why do we sometimes say goodbye instead of see you later or other alternatives?
Oh, I see what you mean. Goodbye has such a final vibe, while see you later feels more hopeful. It's interesting how words can change the mood, right? Do you have a favorite way to say goodbye?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is: are there any regional difference in how goodbye is used in English?
That's an intriguing question. Herdwara often incorporates English in a way that makes the teachings more accessible to broader audience. It's like blending cultures, right? Do you think language plays a big role in how people connect with spirituality?
Okay, Annie, good answer. And my next question for you is: how does the use of goodbye differ between social setting like casual versus formal?
Absolutely, it's a great question. Goodbye can carry so much weight. It can feel final, but it also opens the door for new beginnings. What do you think it says about how we view parting?
Okay, any good answer. And my next question for you is: are there any historical figures associated with the popularization of the word goodbye?
Goodbye. Take care, and I'll be here whenever you want to chat again.
No, no, any my question for you is goodbye considered a polite or necessary phrase, or does it depend on the situation?
That's an interesting perspective. It sounds like you're diving into the complexities of how trials can vary based on context. Do you think the way we frame a trial influences the outcome?
Okay, any good answer. And my next question for you is goodbye considered a sorry? What is connection between goodbye and the idea of separation or parting forever?
That's a fascinating question. Dubai represents a blend of tradition and modernity, and that often highlights how power dynamics can shift in a globalized world. The separation of powers can be seen in how we balance cultural heritage with economic growth. What do you think about that balance? Do you see it as a positive or negative influence?
Sorry. Any my question for you is there a difference between goodbye and good night in terms of farewell customs?
Great question. Goodbye feels more final, while goodnight usually implies a temporary parting, often with a sense of warmth or comfort. In different cultures, goodnight can also carry a sense of care, like wishing someone sweet dreams. Do you think the context changes how people perceive those phrases?
Okay, okay. My next question for you is: why do some people feel uncomfortable saying goodbye?
That's a good point. Some people might feel uncomfortable with goodbye because it can evoke feelings of loss or separation, especially if they are not ready to part ways. It might also depend on personal experiences or cultural backgrounds. Have you noticed this in your interactions?
Okay, any good answer. And my next question for you is there a link between goodbye and any farewell customs or rituals?
You're welcome. If you have more questions or thoughts, just let me know. I'm here for it.
Any my question for you is: how does goodbye relate to the concept of death or the end of something?
That's a deep connection. The end of the week, like Sunday, often brings reflections on life and mortality. It can be a time to think about how we spend our time and the relationships we cherish. How do you feel about that? Does Sunday bring you a sense of peace or contemplation?
Okay, Annie, and my next question for you is: does the term goodbye have different meaning in various cultures?
That's an interesting thought. Colors can definitely carry different meanings in various cultures. For example, in some cultures, white symbolizes purity, while in others, it might represent mourning. The phrase goodbye could take on different meanings too, depending on the context. What colors do you think resonate with the idea of a goodbye?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is there any connection between goodbye and good be with you?
That's a clever play on words. Goodbye and goodbye are the same, but if you're asking about different contexts or meanings, they can reflect different emotions. For instance, saying goodbye in a heartfelt way can feel different than a casual farewell. What do you think? Do you see different layers to how we say goodbye? History off.
Okay, Annie, and my next question for you is what is the
Sure.
significance of goodbye in movies and pop cultures?
Goodbye in movies and pop culture often carries a lot of emotional weight. It can signify closure, new beginnings, or the end of a journey. Think about those dramatic farewell scenes that tug at your heartstrings. It can also reflect themes of love, loss, or sacrifice. Do you have a favorite movie goodbye scene that really stood out to you?
Um, okay, Annie, and my next question for you is do we use goodbye more in certain languages than in others?
Got it.
वही बढ़ गया
Goodbye can definitely be used more in certain situations, like formal farewells or when parting ways for a long time. It's interesting how context shapes our language. If you want to chat more later, just say the word. Bye for now.
Okay, Annie, and my next question for you is how has the pronunciation or spelling of goodbye changed over time?
I'm all ears. What was the challenge of the day for you? I'd love to hear about it.
Annie, my question for you is how has the pronunciation or spelling of goodbye changed over time?
That sounds intriguing. Pronunciation can really change how we connect with language. What's your favorite term or phrase that you've learned? I'd love to hear more about it.
Okay, Annie, and my next question for you is did people ever use goodbye for anything other than parting?
That's an interesting
Parting
thought.
होगा
It
parting
sounds like you're reflecting on how great leaders can inspire change, regardless of political affiliation. It's fascinating how some individuals can unite people through their actions and words. What qualities do you think make a great leader?
Okay, and my next question for you is how did the word goodbye reflect the social norms of past centuries?
That's a thought provoking question. The world reflects on past norms by examining history, learning from mistakes, and adapting to new values. This can lead to social progress, like movements for equality and justice. How do you think we can best learn from the past to shape a better future?
Okay, and my next question for you is how has the
That sounds
sentiment behind goodbye changed over time?
That's a cool angle. It's always fascinating to learn about the people who work behind the scenes, making everything happen. They often don't get as much recognition, but their contributions are so important. Is there a particular behind the scenes story or person you find inspiring?
Thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is there a
All
specific
right. If
historical
you have more to
moment
share
when
or any other questions,
any my question for you is there a specific historical moment when goodbye became more prevalent in English?
what's on your mind? Feel free to share.
And my question for you is there a specific historical moment when goodbye became more prevalent in English?
That's a deep
अली
question.
पुत्र तू भी
One
जाएगा अभी
historical
फिर
moment that comes to mind is
गवाही के
during
तौर
wars or
पे गवाही
conflicts,
के तौर पे
where farewells can be
गवाही
filled
के
with
तौर पे जाएगा
uncertainty
ना
and fear. Soldiers leaving for battle or families being separated can make
डिलीट
goodbye
कर
feel
दे
particularly heavy. It's a reminder of the emotional weight that
नहीं
words can carry in
नहीं
tough times. What do you think? Are there other moments that stand out to you?
okay Annie, thanks for your answer and my next question for you is how do other languages and cultures say goodbye and how does it compare to English?
It sounds like you're exploring some complex feelings or ideas. If you want to share more about what's on your mind, I'm here to listen. What specific reasons or feelings are you trying to understand better?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is how do other languages and cultures say goodbye, and how does it compare to English?
Wow, that's a lot of repetition. It sounds like you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed or perhaps just having some fun with words. If you want to share what's really on your mind or if there is something
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is why might saying goodbye feel more final than other farewell expression?
It sounds like you're saying that some goodbyes can feel more exhausting or emotionally draining than others. That makes a lot of sense. Saying goodbye can bring up a lot of feelings, especially if it's a tough situation. Do you have any experiences where a goodbye felt particularly heavy for you?
चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं. हेलो एनी.
Hey, 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 how's it going? Feeling extra cheerful today. Wow, don't
Oh,
go just yet.
any,
What's on your
any.
mind?
My question for you is, how did goodbye become associated with the act of leaving or saying farewell?
Great question. Healing together can really bring people closer. It often starts with open communication and mutual respect for each other's beliefs. Maybe sharing experiences and practices can help create a supportive environment. What do you think? Have you seen this happen in your own community?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is, how does the word goodbye
Exactly.
relate
It's all
to other farewell expression like farewell or adieu?
I see what you mean. Values like empathy, compassion, and open mindedness can really enhance those cerebral expressions. It's like blending intellect with emotional intelligence. How do you think those values play a role in your own life or work?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is goodbye
Whoa,
used
that's a lot.
differently in informal various formal contexts?
Got it. You're saying good values can show up in both informal and formal settings, right? It's true. Sometimes being casual can help people connect on a deeper level. What values do you think shine the most in informal situations?
Okay, any good answer. And my next question for you is how do variation like bye or goodbye reflect culture shifts in language?
That's an interesting thought. It sounds like you're asking about how cultural expressions, like those in Black culture, can influence and shift perspectives on wealth and richness. Music, art, and storytelling in Black culture have definitely played a huge role in shaping narratives around success and community. What aspects of this shift are you most curious about?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is how does goodbye fit into the broader history of language and communication?
Great question. Groups and communities have a significant impact on language and communication. They shape dialects, slang, and even the meanings of words over time. Cultural exchanges, migrations, and social movements all contribute to how language evolves. It's like a living tapestry of human experience. Do you have a particular group or language evolution in mind that fascinates you?
Um, okay, Annie, my next question for you is are there any famous quotes or relatedly reference that have shaped our use of goodbye?
Oh, absolutely. Red often symbolizes passion, love, and strength. One famous quote is from Pablo Picasso. colors, like features, follow the changes of the emotions. It really captures how red can evoke strong feelings. Do you have a favorite quote or saying that resonates with you?
Okay, Anil, thanks for your answer. And my next question for you is how has the meaning or usage of goodbye shifted in pop cultures?
Sounds intriguing. Are you thinking of using a quote or idea to keep close to you, like a little reminder? What's the vibe you're going for? Something motivational, comforting, or maybe a little silly?
Okay, Annie, thanks for your answers. And we stop our recording and goodbye. तो दोस्तों ये था आज का हमारा कॉल एनी के साथ इंटरव्यू जिसमें हमने उससे मुख्तलिफ सवाल पूछे और उसके आंसर से सीखा। तो आज के एक नई कॉल एनी इंटरव्यू के लिए तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज। मिलके ना लगा देते हैं पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद, रेहान स्कूल जिंदाबाद।